the way, we can go right ahead and talk about the Boston Celtics and just how good they are. So, I was in a meeting earlier and we were talking about the Celtics. Now, if I remember correctly, it was said that, at least this is what they told me, that they were top 10 in point differential and one of the top 15 records in NBA history, right? So, I did some stat hunting and I went ahead and I used StatMuse. I recommend using that. It's a very, very nice website. And I went to see exactly where these Celtics ranked in point differential. And they were, let me see, two, three. They were in the top five. They were literally just five, so the bottom of the top five, but still very, very impressive. And they had an average point differential of 11.34. Now, what that means is that basically in almost every single game that they played, they would win by an average of 11 points, and they would like that because, point differentials, so, that's the difference in points that they have with every other team. And that is being in the top five while at the same time having one of the best records in the NBA is very, very impressive. And it's nothing short of amazing. And the teams that are ranked above them right now in the point differential category are the 1971 to 72 Lakers. Let me just go ahead and look at this stat real quick. And the 1970-71 Bucks and the 95-96 Bulls. So, and also the 2016-2017 Warriors with Kevin Durant. Now, the 2016-17 Warriors were just zero point 0.3 points off of the 2023-24 Boston Celtics. So, like, they were just slightly above them, but more or less they had the exact same point differential. 11, which is, that is a lot of points, obviously. And let me just go ahead and look at another stat real quick just to make sure before I say what I want to say. And yeah, so all the teams above the Boston Celtics, like, the 2016-17 Warriors, the 95-96 Bulls, the 1970-71 Bucks, and the 1971-72 Lakers, they all won a championship. Every single one of those teams has won the championship, and everyone else below them either has or hasn't. So it's like and like I say has or hasn't because like the teams below them right here, there's look, we have the 2015-2016 Warriors that are just below them with 10.7 points per game, like, differential. 10.7 point differential per game. That's what I meant to say. And those guys didn't win the championship. And also, the 2015-2016 Spurs, they also had a 10 point differential per game, and they also didn't win the championship. So it's like, sometimes they're guaranteed a championship and sometimes they're not. But those in the top five, they've been guaranteed they've won a championship. And now that's all that's left is for the 2023-24 Celtics, this Celtics team right here, to follow suit. And if they do follow suit, I do think that they have a possibility of being one of the best teams in NBA history. Now, but are they the best? No. I'm going to just flat out say it right now. No. They're not going to be the best. They're not the best team in NBA history, despite the fact that they have so many stars and so much talent on their roster. Like, I believe this is the first roster in a long time to have excuse me. I believe this is the first roster to have multiple starters hit 100 three-pointers in the season. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and check to see if that stat is true, because I did see somewhere that they had multiple starters hit 100 or more three-pointers, and that stat hasn't been repeated. So, with that in mind, like, the team, it sounds like they're a very good team, but why aren't they the best? Well, that's because, unfortunately, like, to me at least, like, they're not going to be the best in my opinion, but like in history, like in due time, they might. But for me right now, they aren't going to be considered. They aren't considered the best simply because of how they made it to the finals. I know I always discredit a bunch of teams and discredit the media for putting asterisks on teams and their accomplishments, but I am sorry. The fact that there wasn't a single team that was healthy to go against the Boston Celtics is a bit concerning for me. That, like, I understand, like, one team, sure, like, you could let that slide. Two teams, maybe, but all of them? Now, that's no. I refuse. And the fact that the Pacers were still close to beating them in a couple of games, despite that. But I mean, again, like, I don't like the idea of having asterisks. But when I look at when I think about the best team in NBA history, it's the 2016-2017 Warriors. It's that simple. Like, there's no other team in the history of basketball that I think could beat that team. There is no team in the history of basketball that I think could beat that team in a 7-game series. None. Zero. Because that Warriors team came within 1 game away from sweeping the entire league. That was something that has never been done in the history of basketball. No team in NBA history has ever swept the playoffs, like, in every single series. None. And the Warriors, they came 1 game away from that, and the 1 game where they lost was against LeBron James, who in my opinion is the greatest basketball player to ever live, and the team was just shooting the lights out in that game. And then they went ahead and destroyed them in Game 5 and in Game 4. So but with that, actually no, they went and destroyed them in Game 5, excuse me. But with that, and that team, like, with Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, and Klay Thompson, not to mention Draymond, not to mention Andre Iguodala, not to mention Sean Livingston, not to mention JaVale McGee, all of those players, they were just different. Like, when you put KD on that roster, you can't double him. You simply cannot double Kevin Durant, and Kevin Durant is already one of the more unguardable players that the NBA has ever seen due to his height. Now, add on to the fact that he's paired with 2 of the greatest shooters that the NBA has ever seen, and 2 of the greatest postseason shooters the NBA has ever seen. No question about that. They've hit the first and the second most 3-pointers in the playoffs for a reason, and like, it's just, there's no way I just can't envision a single team that could beat that team. Not to mention having Draymond, who was a Defensive Player of the Year candidate, and also having Iguodala, who won the Finals MVP over Steph Curry, along with Sean Livingston, who was in the running for being a 6th Man of the Year. That lineup was unbeatable, plain and simple. And I don't think that any team in the history of basketball can beat them. So with that, we are out of time for this first segment. It's a little bit shorter than usual because I started a little bit later. I apologize for that. But now we will go ahead and go into the second segment where I talk about a quick playoff preview and talk about the Mavericks and the Timberwolves and their series. So I will be right back after this short break. So stay tuned.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown. Get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits. Some losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world